Aloha family. Check out this quartz crystal. I'll show you something, show you this before we get started. I went to Ron Coleman's mine in Arkansas, and Justin and myself and Liv and her daughter, we dug up some crystals, and this is one of the ones that we got. And I love it because it's like earth on the bottom and then that crystalline experience on the top. And I just think it's so beautiful. So I made a post this morning asking if you were activated within your manifestation powers. And I like to put things out there just to see where everybody's at. And it helps me form my channel on how to re-engage in that. Hey, Doug, how to engage in that format. And so after seeing a lot of your comments today and reading a lot of your, and embodying them, um, and just thinking about where my consciousness is now, I wanted to share a little bit about the manifestation, that happens. A lot of you asked how to activate that, or how do I know if I'm, engaged in my manifestation powers. And so throughout the day, I've had things come in that gave me ideas. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about it. And then I wanted to, and I'm going to initiate an activation through the channel. And and not to have a specific intention on the body per se, but it's whatever comes through and resonates with you. Just like yesterday, Justin and I did a session with someone who has high blood pressure, and I stepped into the channel and we ended up working on their heart chakra, the front and back. And then I worked a lot with the meridian lines, the heart meridian, and opening up the wrist and opening up the pathways to assist with the blood pressure to the heart. And so just like, an energy session or a healing session that is about the body, we can set intentions about our own lives as well outwardly, not just existing within. And so as we are creators, that means we are manifestors, and we manifest through the power of our thoughts and what that intention is. And we can use our own intention to do many things. We can heal ourselves with it. A lot of us don't realize that we have that power, that we're all healers and we all are energy. Therefore, we can share that energy with others. And so just like there's a power in believing and there's a power in knowing. And just like with healing oneself or performing a healing ceremony, a connected energy with another, it's because I believe that it's real. I know that it's real because of my experiences. I see the power of energy exchange on a daily basis within my vessel and my channel and that of others. And so I've witnessed many, many, many situations of the power of energy and the power of our thought processes. And so to answer the question of how do we connect to our manifestation powers, our abilities, it boils down to self-love, because we're always manifesting and creating realities, whether we realize it or not. And so when we create self-love within ourselves, the universe then matches that vibration due to the law of physics. It becomes a molecular vibration thing. And so since we know our thought processes create our realities, then it's about being mindful and knowing that we are creators, knowing that we create our own realities, and knowing that we create our own healing. And that means on a physical level. And so I noticed with myself that when we say manifest, that means that the universe, the outside world, begins to put things along the path that we have seen or heard or thought of within. And so, and of course, when things are good and they start to match up and it creates these amazing realities, then we start paying attention. And we can get lost in the fact that if turmoil and turmoil and turmoil keeps showing up, that's the same thing. There's something within that's lacking. Therefore, the outer world is reflecting that same image. So If you want to kick up your manifestation powers to align with what you want in your life, then it starts within. And the great thing about manifesting that I've noticed is that we have a vision of what we want to manifest, and then the universe brings it to us in these little subtle ways to show us the path to keep putting in the action. And so manifesting isn't just about sitting around and daydreaming. It's actually about putting that manifest in motion, because the universe will begin to deliver small little cues and put these little confirmations and these little gifts in the path for us as tools to continue to use to create the manifested vision that we want. And it's because it comes from internally. And we can create that space, that sacred space, no matter where we are. Now, yes, some situations may not be the most ideal. It can really trigger a person physically and mentally. And if that is happening to you, it's important to realize that you can still work to create your own reality. There is no lost hope because you are the creator. And so even though the situation may not be ideal for you right now, let your mind wander. Let your mind manifest what it is you want and be happy. Get happy about it. Get excited about the reality that you're now creating within yourself, because abundance grows where the excitement flows. I don't know about you, but in my life, when I've been really down on myself or just not in a good healed place, my life didn't really manifest for me the way in an elevated way. I was being mirrored that same image. And so it's about recognizing that oneself is a manifester and knowing that you create the reality that you want. And that turns on the manifestation powers. I started seeing it in 2016 in such huge ways after I got activated. And I felt the pull to go on the road. And I traveled around in a vehicle for a little bit, and I backpacked and hitchhiked around the country for 5 months in 2016. And I got to see the power of manifestation. It was like every time I needed some money or water or food, I did not ask for anything. The universe provided, like within a matter of minutes. And I started to see the power of doing what I felt called to do, and that the universe was provided. I kept saying, like, wow, these angels are like swooping in and like assisting me in this amazing way because I'm loving myself and moving past fear. And so that was a huge soul journey for me that I took by choice. I wanted to do that. And I wanted to subconsciously empower myself and move past fear. And it was part of my journey to see that even when we have nothing at all, the most amazing things can be created. And it's about getting past fear. Hey, Ricardo. And the universe loves that. Our guides love that. And literally, like, it's almost like we switch guidance too, because vibration is a real thing. And if we're thinking low vibrational thoughts all the time and sending out low vibrational energy, that low vibrational entities and voices in the channel beings resonate to that vibration. It's past the emotional humanistic experience. It's literally a vibration. So when we think in terms of vibration, we really get to understand the magic of ourselves with creation, and that's how we manifest. And so one of the things I like to do is I like to remember that my mind, my thought processes create realities, and that it's okay to slip in and out of phases of thinking really high vibrationally and then not thinking so high vibrationally, because we are in a human suit with this consciousness, which triggers our psyche, and we're triggered in all kinds of ways that we don't even realize by the sun and the moon and other people that are a mile down the road. There's all kinds of different things that create our realities. So since we live in a world where everything and everyone is creating their own reality, it's important to realize that we are the mystic wizard of creation ourselves. That's the God energy. That's the Christ consciousness. And so if you're feeling like life isn't going right for you right now, and you feel really sad a lot and angry a lot, or that you're feeling a true sense of lack within yourself, just realize that that's okay. That those feelings and those thoughts are signals to create at a higher vibration. It doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you're depressed or any of those things. That's a story. Those are vibrational signals from the human vessel to the psyche to take a look within. It can even be triggered. I've come to realize that even lower vibrational thoughts can be triggered due to illness in the body because it's a more acidic environment. Therefore, it affects the neurotransmitters, which is serotonin and dopamine and oxytocin, and even the melatonin production from the pineal gland, which is very important for sleep. And so getting outside of the mental constructs of our situations, of our circumstances, which are the stories we agree to, that we tell ourselves and others, we get to choose how we create. We get to choose what kind of mystic wizard we choose to be. And so it's really fun to have that awareness. And having that awareness means that we are then responsible for our actions and our thoughts and our reactions to others. As part of the enlightening process, this is what it's all about. And so recognizing that becoming enlightened, which means more light, right? Like a higher level of wisdom and knowledge and awareness. We can have all the knowledge on the planet, but if we're not putting action behind it, we're not personally taking a hold of that creative space. And so getting into the sense of the victimhood, being a victim, really that word, I personally don't use it very often. I'm using it as an example now to relate. Being in that space just means that that there's a lack of something, and that we've agreed to the story due to these situations that happen to us. And then a lot of time we continue to create that same reality that happened to us because we are agreeing that it is us, when in fact it's a situation, it's an experience, and it's a story. And so if we want to create a more abundant life, we must create a more abundant story. Start writing a story. Start writing it down if you want to. Start creating that magic story within your mind. Make videos of yourself talking about the story that you're creating, which is your life. And anything that you can do to really get your creative flow moving, that feels good, even if it feels a little fearful at first, just like me making these videos and me doing what I do. This is me stepping outside of myself so that I can share how I feel. And I move past fear and all of that stuff. And the reason why I do it is because I know that I'm creating love out of love. Because the fear is just a story of something that I either don't recognize in the moment because I don't have the experience yet, or triggered from some experience from the past. Therefore, it's all stories, like we write and experience the stories of ourselves and others. And that's another thing too. We can lose our manifestation powers to the highest degree by agreeing to other people's stories. And that means the actions that they've displayed to us. That's their story. That's someone's actions and words. And so if we continue to agree to what someone else has told us by their story, by their action, then that means we're stuck in their karmic cycle. That's where the word forgiveness comes from in our humanistic experience. But really, it doesn't even have to be attached to that. It can just looking at someone and recognizing that that's their program, that's their story, it's not mine. Only if we choose to agree to make it our own story. So then it's really not even about forgiveness. We as humans can get really caught up in words and the meaning, and they can trigger us in the most beautiful ways and the most traumatic ways. And all of that's the story as well. So like if the word forgiveness triggers you, just know that it's not even about that. It's about recognizing that everyone has their story, their program, and those programs teach us how to engage with other people. And that's until we realize that, like, whoa, I don't know about you, but since I was young, I just recognized that the programs around me just really didn't make sense. I grew up in a Pentecostal church where they spoke in tongues, and while the language was interesting, something just didn't make sense in the delivery. And also the way I was raised, it didn't make sense in my delivery as well, because that wasn't my program, that was theirs. And so it helped me to really like let go of all of these programmed ways, and, being touched inappropriately sexually when I was a child, and then became, promiscuous as an adult, and just drug use and overeating and just all these things that are just stories, right? Because when we step outside of our story, it's a blank slate and we get to create. And so that gives me the initiative to move past my human emotion. Like, I know I'm here in this human experience with these stories, creating energetic sensations and antennas in my body, and then engaging with those of others. So I recognize that that's the human experience. And at the same time, it is much greater than that. It is much greater than that. Goes all the way to the cosmos, to the galactic spectrum in which we are existing in. You know, it's just, we're so intergalactically connected. It's really fascinating. That's how telepathy travels. You know, like, I can be here, you can be in Australia, and bing, you pick up my thought and then send me a text message. Like, we really are manifesting on that kind of a level. And so if you want to travel to India, manifest yourself going to India, all the way down to the color luggage that you pack your clothes into. Like, create that reality in the location where you want it, to pull it into you. Because and that's what's so cool, is we think that it's some journey that we have to get to be able to do it, but that's it. The mind and the listening ether of vibration is that simple. It's a story. So it's really about creating a story and then living it when it shows up, because it does. Whether it's the story we realize we're creating or not, subconsciously and or consciously, the situation, the story is going to bring itself. And I've noticed within myself, I've manifested a lot of stuff over the last few years that I wasn't ready to get into. So I've passed up a lot of opportunities. And that's what's so cool, is that I realized, like, I let a lot of things go by because I know I can recreate them. It just wasn't the time. And really, it just boils down to surrendering the psyche and realizing, like, oh, I don't have to be stuck in this way of thinking that I thought yesterday. It's not going to make me a hypocrite. I can change my mind whenever I want. Like, that's the thing. Like, we can really get caught up in the constructs of the way that we think we should be, because this is how society says, because someone created a word and put a definition to it and put it in a book. Like, we create our own language. We make our own words, and a lot of time it's beautiful to realize that words aren't even necessary. And so, since words are not necessary and energy moves, I wanted to initiate an activation today to open up the manifestation channel, which is amplifying the signal, which is what happens when we do energy work. Just the other day, I did a session with someone, and while he was on the table, his phone started blowing up, and he was getting orders and money sent to him and questions about classes and all this stuff. So whatever you have going on manifesting inside of you, this vibration amplifies the signal. And it's because I may be showing something, but it's your knowing. It's your knowing that it's possible that creates the reality. Because I can channel sessions with people, and while they may feel the energy, if they're not open to receive, they will not. So it's a knowing and an acceptance, open to receive, if we're truly in that light. And so I've decided that I'm not going to do the activation to music like I do sometimes, which is a lot of fun. I've decided I'm going to do it in nature. And I am in a city, and there's a lot of noise around me, a lot of cars, air conditioning, planes flying over, sirens driving by. And I wanted to do that with you in the city with all the noise, because it just shows that we can step into that void space to listen and allow source to channel through and listen and receive the inspiration. Okay, so if you are open to receive this activation, all you have to do is say within your channel that you are open to receive, which is your mind, letting the vortex open up. And then I like to say take like 7 days of integration, because while I initiate the activation, and even though I close it, it still continues within me and you and across. So physically, mentally, and emotionally, it will integrate. You may find that you have thoughts coming up from your psyche of things maybe you've dealt with or haven't dealt with, because it's an amplification tool. You are no longer at the same resonance in which you were before the activation. Therefore, anything within and without will fall away, unless that thing raises its vibration as well. Okay. So in this intentional casting of manifest, allow yourself to step into the space of realizing that you are the manifestation tool that you seek. It is within you. It is within your mind and your thought processes and the energy that you're projecting out. And knowing that this is a signal to help amplify that so you can become more within the oneness and the quiet space. Okay, here we go. What I'll do is, as I'm moving through certain areas, I decided that I would speak what area I'm working on, such as like the throat or the heart or somewhere like that. I'm going to speak out loud without hearing the headphones, so you may or may not be able to hear. Nonetheless, you can put your intention to that area on your own body to open up and amplify the signal. Okay, guys, here we go. Okay, here we go. Opening up the throat chakra. Moving the hand around in a circle opens up a portal. A little third eye tapping. You can tap along also using the magic mudra with the left hand. Okay, solar plexus. Pulling out, clearing energy here. The solar plexus is the element of fire, and that is where we receive and hold on to the energy of others. Saging you with magic. Okay, opening a portal in the solar plexus. We had to clear it first, then open the portal to receive, to activate. The shoulder here, this is a major, what I hear in my head is highways and byways because of the meridian lines in the body, which is the flow of the chi. And so this opens up this to allow this to manifest. So tapping right here, get the energy flowing. 33 snaps. Snapping distributes the energy that was just released. Okay, opening a portal to you. Take a deep breath in. Calling on the element of fire, I hope. This is the yes, okay sign. Cleared and activated. You can use your own voice as sound alchemy. It's just like using a sound bowl. It creates a vibration in your body to heal, to amplify, to send a signal. Release and allow. Yes, we are blessed. We are blessed. We are blessed. This is putting all of the elements together, creating the neural pathways. Which are all the meridian lines in the body. The flow of chi to come together above the crown, which stimulates the brain. We're here to create change. We have come here today to celebrate a thing called life. Change the timeline. Crown. It's activating DNA. We gathered here today to celebrate a thing called life. Another throat chakra charging. Clearing energy. I see it as like grabbing a hold of cords and pulling them out. Yes, we are blessed. We are blessed. We are blessed. Third chakra activation. It can feel like throat tightening, scratching, coughing, sneezing. Okay, I'm getting the sign that everything is clear and activated. And so I found that very interesting, that simply setting the intention of amplifying our manifestation signal The main things that were worked on today were the throat and the heart chakra. Oh, let me plug this back in so that you can hear better. So I found it very interesting that the throat chakra and the solar plexus were the two main areas of focus with the intention of amplifying the manifestation abilities. And I understand why, because the solar plexus is where we receive from others. Either that gut feeling where it just doesn't feel good or it feels yummy, and then it goes up to the heart and we feel heart palpitations and just like all that yummy heart energy. And the solar plexus and the throat chakra are very much connected. The way I see the 7 chakras is I see the heart in the center with 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom, because the heart is the center point of gravity. That's the channel. And so I see that above and below the heart is the solar and the throat. And the throat is affected by the way our solar plexus has been fed. Whether you are speaking your truth, whether you have your voice, if you are creating your reality by your thoughts and your voice, what you're speaking into reality creates reality. That's what we spent the first part of this video talking about. And so I thought it was really beautiful as the session was going on that I saw that those were the 2 main areas of focus. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, like this is really great. Like this is exactly what we were just talking about. Source is like, hello, this is where it starts. And it's truth, you know, it really is truth. And so I thought that was really beautiful, and it was really powerful. I was channeling very clear and very fast, and that is when it's like really unified. It feels really good and flowy on my body. And so this was definitely a beautiful ceremonial type activation. And it was very native. I felt my native roots, or the native energy coming out, the tribal energy coming out also. So that was really beautiful to be able to display that with you. And so the solar plexus, you know, is where, like, if you have a lot of what people call gastritis or heartburn or belly burning and things like that, that can be felt in the solar plexus as well. And that can come from what's being consumed orally and what's being consumed mentally, because then the abdomen gets disrupted. Because around 90% of the serotonin is produced in the abdomen, not the brain. So if the gut isn't healthy, then it really creates distortion throughout. It can create distortion throughout the rest of the body, and that means mentally as well. So loving on that solar plexus. I do a lot of clearing of myself on my solar plexus, sometimes on a daily basis. It just depends on how I've been engaging with others. So sometimes I feel like putting up a shield there, but it's okay. It's just, that's a true signal. So when I feel the trigger there, I know that's something to take a look at versus attaching emotion to it. And so you can definitely start to feel a little bit of clearing there after this. Maybe you start to experience burping or, you know, things coming up. Even vomiting can take place when there's an energy purge, and you can experience diarrhea as well. And so there's just all kinds of different things when the body purges. This isn't just some energy magic. This is shifting things on a molecular level, literally the ley lines of the body. And so the throat chakra is super important. You can start to feel tingling or numbness or tightening on the outside. And then on the inside, that's a different level of throat chakra, where I feel different sensations, which can feel like scratchy. It can make me cough and even sneeze sometimes. So you may experience some of that. You may not experience it right now since we just did this. It may take you several days or even 2 weeks to integrate this energy work. And so it comes when it's divine timing, if you are open to receive. So with all of that being said, it just comes back to the power of knowing that we are already there anywhere we choose to be. And it's the power of thought, the power of thoughtful intention. And so play around with it. Start testing out your manifestation abilities. Even if you don't feel like you're there, even if you don't feel excitement about it, or you believe it's just a load of crap and it's just not even like that, just try it. You don't have to believe me. Try for yourself and watch what happens. I mean, it's almost instantaneous. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for all that you do. I love you all so much on a daily basis. I just pour my heart out to you, even if I'm not engaging. Just know that you're in my heart and I love you. I appreciate all that you do, and thank you for continuing to connect with me. I love you to the moon, everybody. If you have any questions, please message me or comment about this moving forward. Thank you so much.